Alright guys, so I've talked a lot about my Stormhawks headcanons, but I've never really talked about the Stormhawks AUs I've really built, and trust me, I've built a few. So I kind of figured I'd talk about a few of them that I really gave a lot of world building to. I thought I would, give my thoughts on a few that I have, done a lot of world building and a lot of crafting to. Two in particular, just kind of two in particular, and that's a Western AU and a Medieval AU. I also did a reverse AU, and I might actually talk about that because I put some effort in that, but it's with reverse AUs, they're kind of easy, so I don't know if I might do that. So, what was it? Where was I going with this? Anyway, let's talk about this Stormhawks Western AU that I kind of created. Now, I actually had a fic built around this. I had a fic bit built around it, but I never really continued on with it. But I did have a lot of, the character planning. It was just the storytelling that was kind of getting in the way. So let's talk about the Stormhawks in general. Now, they're not called the Stormhawks. It is the characters, but they're all very different. Let's start off with Arrow. Arrow in here was kind of the, your typical wandering hero, but he had, in this continuity, in this universe, he was a runaway soldier from the Confederate Army who abandoned his post during the ending days of the Civil War. He took off and kind of became a rogue, in some sorts. He, not really abandoned, but he became a drifter. There's the better word. He basically became a drifter, and he basically just went from town to town, traveling around, and just, trying to get work where he could. So he wanders into the town of Atmosia, and yeah, it's under the control of the Cyclonian gang, who are this band of soldiers who, not really soldiers, I should say, but more like just a group of outlaws that have been banded together under the mysterious Miss Cyclonus, who's no one seen, but she's the godmother of the town of Atmosia. We then, so there you go. There's kind of the story. It's kind of the whole take back the town kind of Western, that whole shtick. But the story is that in here, let's talk about the other characters that I kind of built these alternate universe versions of them, starting with Piper. Piper in here is a saloon girl. She's quintessentially a whore. She works for Madame Susie, who is, of course, this continuity Susie Lou. And here's the big thing. In this kind of alternate universe, I didn't really change anyone to just human AU. I just kind of left him as is, because that would be kind of the joke. I mean, shit, if SpongeBob can make a Western and still keep everyone just the same, then why can't I, right? So, Susie Lou is the madam of a whorehouse and / owner of a saloon in Atmosia. And one of her girls is, of course, Piper. She also has Lynn and Dove and a few other Stormhawks characters that are also some of her girls. And Piper in here is very intelligent, but she was very down on her luck. She was very, she didn't really have any place to go, and Susie took her in. But yeah, Piper in here she's very intelligent. She's very, quick-witted, and can hold a gun. She can hold her own in a fight. As per usual, because yeah, this shit does, it's the Old West. It's kind of shitty out there, especially if you're a prostitute. So Piper and Arrow, of course, form a romance, but the problem is that Piper is a preferred girl of one Mr. Ace. She's Ace's girl, preferably his favorite whore. And Ace is the local, he's the enforcer for Miss Cyclonus, who, again, no one's seen, and Dark Ace in here is a gunslinger and a very deadly one. So, you also have, of course, Sheriff Moss in here. Of course, he's a corrupt sheriff, and you've got, I can't even remember his deputy's name, but yeah, he's a corrupt deputy. They're on the Cyclonus gang's payroll. And Arrow, while he's in jail, comes across his cellmate by the name of Fast Hands Finn. Yep, I made Finn a outlaw who was once a member of the Cyclonus gang until he got stupid and tried to run off with their money, and they kind of found him and beat the shit out of him. So they basically yeah, they turned on him and threw him in jail, and he runs into Arrow. They break out, and Finn shows off why he's Fast Hands Finn. He he just starts dropping people left and right. So they escape and run into Junko, who is, along with a lot of Wallops, they're railroad workers. And Junko is, of course, like he is in the show, he's a very gentle soul, but when you piss him off, he starts smashing shit. So, from there, the group eventually finds their way to a traveling salesman named Stork. Yeah, in this universe, Stork is a traveling salesman. He's kind of like Wes Dickens from Red Dead Redemption, where he's kind of like a snake oil man. He sells, he claims that these all new mystery tonics from the Orient can save your life. That's kind of how he is that he claims to be a doctor, but really he's a con man. So that's Stork right there. That is Stork in a nutshell, more or less. So Stork is also he also has a pet condor. Yeah, I wanted to throw in the condor somewhere. So he has a pet condor, and he's also like in the show, he's very paranoid, but he's also kind of psychotic because he's also he's been smoking a little too much opium sometimes. He takes a little too much of his product. So the five of them band together and take on the town, and that's kind of the whole. Again, it's the whole Western take back the town kind of thing. Now, for the rest of the characters, Snipe and Ravis were in this continuity, in this AU I came up with. They are their father was a rancher, while their mother was a Native American. So they're half Native American. And they are bloodthirsty. They are dead set bloodthirsty. Snipe doesn't. He carries around like a big top. He carries around, of course, guns and whatnot. But he loves scalping people. He loves a good old scalping. And Ravis is a excellent archer. She prefers bows and arrows over guns, but yeah, she is deadly accurate with them. Now, Repton and his brothers, in this alternate universe, I made them a bunch of angry Cajun mercenaries. They're basically they come from Baton Rouge, and they are kind of like, if you've ever seen The Batman and their take on Killer Croc, that's kind of this version's Repton. And he is more or less, he eats people. That's why they don't, they're also cleaners in that they're cannibals and they eat people. And Repton and his boys are usually hired by the Cyclonian gang to take out any threats that become too much of a nuisance. And then you have Starling, who is a survivor, but in this alternate universe, she is the survivor of a colony that, of a small town, who were wiped out by the Raptors on the orders of the Cyclonian gang. So her whole family was wiped out, and now she seeks revenge as kind of like a Clint Eastwood type character. She's kind of like the Clint Eastwood character from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But yeah. And finally, we come to Cyclonus. I didn't really have a lot of ideas for the other characters, sadly, but I just want to go with the main cast. So, for Cyclonus in here, Cyclonus is she is kind of a crime lord. She's a businesswoman, but the thing is that the reason why no one sees her is because she's in a wheelchair most of the time, and because she has cholera. She has horrible amount of cholera, and it's killing her. It's she's puts on this aura, because no one sees her. She puts on this like mask that keeps everyone from seeing what she really is. No one can really tell who she really is under the, behind all the mystique and all of that. And she's a very dangerous woman, but at the same time, she's in a wheelchair slowly dying. That's kind of the big thing right there. That's kind of how it all goes down. So that's kind of a brief little glimpse into my Stormhawks, AU. And it's kind of weird because I kind of created a whole alternate. This was one of the few fan fictions where I created several alternate universes. I might actually do my next one to be the reverse AU, because again, it was kind of easy, and I really had fun with it. And the big inspiration for the Stormhawks reverse AU was actually Transformers the Transformers reverse comics, where it was shattered glass or shattered glass version or something. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, the Transformers shattered glass, shattered image designs, where it was the Decepticons were good and the Autobots were bad. That's where I actually got a lot of inspiration for that version of the Stormhawks AU. So yeah. Anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.